Good morning, this is Jack from Charting the Markets Crypto, and this is the pre-market webinar for the morning of Tuesday, the 17th of March. I'm my disclaimer, I do this for educational purposes only. I'm here to share my technical analysis with you. I hope you can take some of what I'm doing and learn from it, transfer it to your own charts, and I'm not here to shoot trading signals. This is a video for paying subscribers at ctmcrypto.substack.com. It's published on YouTube after a delay of 3 days. All right, great. Let's have a look at the Bitcoin chart. Now, Bitcoin, we have been pulling back slightly, and this is potentially where the rubber meets the road on the bear flags. Now we're back up over the 50-day MA. We've seen a nice move up, and one thing I've been talking about is that we didn't really have a nice resistance trend line here on the Bitcoin chart, and now we do. We've got a decent trend line here, although, hang on 1 second, we've seen a slight overthrow of that trend line. That's promising if we are going to see a turn here. I'm just checking to see whether... Okay, yeah, I've got a potential other one here, which alternate trend line here, which hasn't been reached. So I'm just going to mark that in. But actually, this is I'd drawn this in before it was hit. It was hit, then it was overthrown slightly, and we've now got hourly sell signals on the RSI 14 on Bitcoin, and we got another one on Solana. This is potentially where the rubber meets the road. We've also got the very nice looking wedge on Solana, which was hit and then overthrew slightly yesterday. So this is the obvious point of failure unless we're going to see an expansion or possible failure of these bear flags. But do these look like bear flags? Sure. Shallow rally doesn't really get that far. I mean, it's up 50%, but nonetheless, in comparison to where we came from here, it more than halved on the way down. This is not actually a particularly large rally. This looks like a bear flag. Honestly, this looks like the bear flag, and we have hit resistance. We've overthrown it slightly, and we've got an hourly RSI 14 sell signal fixed. So this is the obvious point of failure. So the question is it going to fail? Now, I do have some concerns about that. Apart from anything else, we've got ES up this morning, and we've got bullish leaning days on the historical stats on ES. So we will see how this goes today, but this is the obvious place for this to be happening, unless we're going to see a failure or an expansion of the flags, which is always possible. All right, so looking pretty nice on that. This is the flag on Bitcoin. We did have on Ethereum, we did have a very strong day yesterday, and that's got me wondering. Nice, very strong break over the 50-day MA. Are there some obvious targets above? Yeah, we've got declining resistance on Solana and on Bitcoin, which hasn't been hit yet, and they could be hit. And I've got that on Bitcoin in about the 81,000 area. On Ethereum, I've got that in about the 2,600 area. Those are potential targets. But the obvious point of failure I've been looking for is the one we are testing right now. And we will see how that goes. So in terms of the declining resistance on Solana, that's been broken slightly, and that's actually encouraging, because one of the things I've been wondering about was whether we would see a flag, a retest, double bottom form, and then a larger rally. Because really, in terms of this move down, we've not really seen much in the way of a rally at all. And it would, one possibility is we could see that. Have we seen the bear market low yet? It seems rather unlikely. So you never know, but we've seen potentially a full length bear market on Solana, and I think probably on Ethereum too. But no, that's only 6 months really on 6 months or so on Ethereum, and it's only about 5 months on Bitcoin since the last all-time high. That's not really enough. I mean, it's possible. It's always possible, but it doesn't look enough for this to be a reasonable probability of the bear market's already played out. Also, in terms of, I'm going to be writing a post about it and looking at this, but in terms of the decline we've seen, I mean, I know it seems like a lot, and everyone's saying, oh well, under 60,000 there's problems, etc. But if you have a look at the previous bear markets, the last one went down 75%. Previous one was over 80. I'm just saying. So this is down 50% from the high. For a bear market, that would be a shallow decline. And also, in the context of what we're seeing here potentially in Iran, what we're seeing here on Iran is potentially, I mean, this could end well. I mean, the Americans could beat the Iranians. They don't look beaten at the moment. They're not even interested in talking at the moment. But I mean, the Americans could, take Cog Island, and the Iranians could say, "Oh no, we haven't got any money anymore," and come to the table and negotiate. That at the moment seems like a bit of a long shot, but it's possible. The other thing that could happen here is, of course, all the Persian Gulf states could basically make a separate peace with Iran and kick out the Americans. Now, that wouldn't be a great. That wouldn't be a victory, obviously, from the American point of view, but it would free up the oil market. If the Persian Gulf became entirely open for business again, it would prevent the possibility of a major oil shock, which is very much a possibility at the moment. Because if we do see that, then what we're looking at here really is potentially a major oil shock, and really in terms of where we might be on the markets at the moment, we might be in February 2020 before a major market event. So we will see how that goes. Hard to say. Predicting the future is a chancy business, but I mean the obvious ways laid forward in my last post on oil last week are the obvious ways forward. And we haven't got any resolution on which way that's going to go. We'll see how that goes today. We've got the hourly sell signal on Bitcoin, which is nice, but we haven't actually seen much of a decline so far. It would be nice to see that speed up. Particularly, it would be nice to see it get down to wedge support in the 65,000 area and break it. In terms of Solana, what we need to see is a move down to the wedge support in the 83.5 area or 84 area and break that. We haven't made a lot of progress towards that overnight. It would be very, very nice to see more. So we shall see. All right, let's have a quick look at questions. No questions in which case. That's a wrap. Everyone take care. I'm watching this with enormous interest today at this inflection point on crypto. We will see how this develops. But if the inflection point plays out as it ideally would, then we're actually topping out here. Possibly we would see a retest, of course, but we're topping out here, and we would be on the way back down to retest this low at 67.65 now. We shall see whether that actually happens. All right, take care, and I'll catch everyone tomorrow. Cheers.